the season winds on to the roads of Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course, the tight championship points race continues. Last year's race winner is now in the driver's seat of the standings.
Briscoe by a nose at the line.
But the Road Warriors of Team Target chase close behind. It's make or break. Time to separate this season's contenders from the pretenders at one of the most historic road courses in America. Is a very cool shot, isn't it? High above Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course. Stand by for the command to start engines in just a few minutes as we get set to televise the Honda Indy 200. And once again, the fans have turned out in droves. There's been all kind of racing here this weekend, climaxed, of course, by today's IndyCar Series event. Always fun to come here because the fans are so good to be around, and it's a great facility. Now, when we go to Infineon Raceway in Sonoma, California in 2 weeks, there will be a lot more elevation change. There is a little bit on this track, but not nearly as much at Infineon. But it is very demanding, as Robbie and Jan have all told you, and it's going to be a great, great race today. IndyCar Series career wins. Well, Scott Dixon earlier this year tied Sam Hornish Jr., so if he can win, he will have sole possession of the most wins in IndyCar Series history. Castroneves has 16, Weldon 15, and look at the all-time wins in open wheel racing. A.J. Foyt, car owner, of course, now 67 wins. Mario Andretti has 52, and Michael Andretti has 42. All right, well, the crowd is ready to go, and so are we. So let's go down to get the introduction of the command to start engines.
Mid-Ohio race fans, are you ready? It's time for those most famous words in motorsports. Please welcome Susan Isley, a member of the board of directors for Westfield Insurance, as she gives the command.
Drivers, start your engines.
Engine start command has been given. Starting with row 1, count them off. Race control, row 1, hot. 3, cold. 5, hot. Hot. 8, hot. 9, hot. 10, hot. 11, hot. How about row 3? 3, hot.
That's good news. The members of row 3 are Elio Castroneves and Dario Franchitti, so we kind of need them in the race here today. All right, the pace car pulls out, and the 21-car starting field will go behind it. The second time around, they'll get the green flag. Actually, the green flag is not going to drop here on the front stretch. The green will start on the back stretch, but all other green flags and the checkered flag will be here on the front stretch. Drivers warming up their tires. 85 laps of competition here this afternoon. 191.9 miles in length. There's Ryan Briscoe. He has won the peak pole position for this race. A great knockout qualifying session yesterday here at Mid-Ohio, and Ryan Briscoe walks off with the $10,000. He has now won 3 poles in 2009, but so has Dario Franchitti. Graham, Elio, and Will Power have each won 2, and Scott Dixon won, but that was because the qualifying was actually rained out and they started by owner points. There is where the green flag will come out, where you see the yellow is waving right now. Let's take a look at the starting lineup for today's event. Ryan Briscoe, he's on the pole for the 7th time in his career. Justin Wilkinson equals his best start. Row number 2 has Scott Dixon and Graham Rahal. 3rd row, Elio Castroneves with 3 wins, and Dario Franchitti has most road course points this year, if you consider only those points accumulated on the road courses.
And certainly hats off to Ryan Hunter-Ray. Fantastic run for him.
Hideki Muto and Danica Patrick are back in row 6, and another member of Andretti Green Racing is Marco Andretti. He starts on the inside of row number 7. Oriol Servia is going to be in the 06 car, the one that we have grown accustomed to seeing Robert Dornbos in, but he's in the 33 car this weekend. Rafael Matos and Conway, Weldon and Dornbos. There's Dornbos in the 33 for HBM Racing. The 10th row, Richard Antonucci and Milcaduno. And back in the 11th row is Ed Carpenter, who had such a great race at Kentucky last weekend. All right, let's go through our onboard cameras for this afternoon's event. Here is Danica Patrick, starting in 12th position, row number 6. E.J. Viso, watch for a lot of action from him. He's in the 13 HVM entry. They come down the front stretch here. There's Tony Kanaan warming up the tires, also on the front straightaway, coming up to turn number 1, a left-hander. Graham Rahal, boy, does he have a lot of fans gathered around this racetrack, hoping that he can win, as his father did twice here at this facility. Justin Wilson starts 2nd. He could very easily be a winner here this afternoon. And if he does, he'll have to pass this guy, Ryan Briscoe, who did win the pole yesterday at 1:06.681 seconds.
And Bob, one common denominator on all the onboards, that red sidewall Firestone. So all but 2 drivers have chosen to go with the reds.
Jack, tell me about the strategy for today's race.
Bob, I'm a little bit confused because I think there's about 5 different strategies that can take you to victory lane. But like Jan Beek has talked about, there's only 2 drivers in the back of the pack, Oriol Servia and Mike Conway, that have elected to start on blacks. Here's what I predict they're going to do, and it may pay off, not necessarily with a win, but a good, strong finish. They're going to get rid of the mandated 2 green flag laps with the blacks and race the rest of the race under the reds. Keep in mind, too, you've got Hideki Muto in row 6 and Milcaduno running shotgun on the field just in front of Ed Carpenter that are starting on scuffed reds. So they're going to still have to run 2 stints, or at least 1 stint with reds and 1 stint with blacks. There's some really exciting and different strategies. And don't forget, we got the overtake button. I'm going to have to track this one, and I'm going to be very confused in the first couple of laps. But watch for those 2 black Firestone primary tired cars to make an early pit stop and get done with the blacks.
Okay, Jack. There have been some great names that have won races here in the past. Juan Pablo Montoya in '99, Fernandez, Fabi, Guerrero, Mario Andretti, and Johnny Rutherford, who's driving here today. The pace car won on the Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course in 1980. All right, they come off of corner number 13 down the front stretch. They will begin to get lined up. Once again, about a half a lap to go before we get the green flag.
And Bob, the reason they start on the back straightaway is because they can get everyone onto the back straightaway, and it's much safer to get everyone up to speed on the long back straightaway. But it also leads into the 2nd slowest corner of the track, Robbie.
There's a little bit of stack up, and there's our front row, the same front row we had at Watkins Glen. And we know Justin was very aggressive right from the get-go. Look at that shot. Everybody run tight and clean. But we know Justin is going to do everything he can to challenge and press Briscoe as they take the green here.
Off the keyhole, onto turn number 2, off the corner, down the long back stretch. And the green flag presented by Apex Brazil Experience. Our energy comes out. They race down to the corner, but Ryan Briscoe has a look at Justin Wilson trying to get second position, but Scott Dixon is right there alongside.
And Dixon's in position right here. If we sneak his nose down the inside, no, he doesn't do it, but he was setting himself up to maybe do that. But again, remember the mindset of the drivers. We got some guys that really need to think about points, some that want to do what they can to win, and that was right on board with Graham Rahal. You can just see, I love the onboard shots of all that work that takes place inside the cockpit.
And that big wiggle is because they get light there. There's two places the cars get light, and when you're light on cold tires and full fuel, it's a wild ride, Robbie.
It's called, and you just got to anticipate it.
This is what we talked about, aggressive first. This is what we've seen in the past. You're super aggressive to get your track position. Then we'll find out who goes into fuel save mode and who still stays on attack mode.
On the first 3/4 of a lap, Dario gained 2 spots, started 6 up to 4th, and Ryan Hunter-Reay.
Oh, Kanaan, he's going to bait.
Keep moving, don't get stuck in that pea gravel. Keep it going, keep it going.
And
he does.
He does. And see how he avoids it there? He goes on the grass. He's like, I'm not going through that stuff.
Boy, the problems for TK continue. Justin Wilson runs second. That's Scott Dixon in third, then Dario, then Graham Rahal running 5th.
And that is a case where Ryan Hunter-Reay gets in there, puts his nose in, looked like he's making a move. That's going to force Tony Kanaan to brake later than he normally would to defend, and unfortunately took him straight off the end of the keyhole.
And when it pushes him up just a little higher there, too, he just doesn't have as much grip on the racetrack as well. So it just adds a little insult to injury of locking up those tires.
Here's what happened to TK at the keyhole.
And they're heading to the keyhole, which is one of the better passing zones. So to the right of our screen there, we're going to have Ryan Hunter-Reay, who's looking to the inside. And TK gave him the room, and you saw that right front just lock up. And off he went through the pea gravel.
Doesn't take much.
There it is.
Right there. Ryan Hunter-Reay was to the inside, and again, that forces you to pick the latest possible braking point that you can, and it was too late for Tony Kanaan. Man, what a disappointment.
Yeah. But Tony had enough room to come down. I mean, he just saw that Ryan was there in his mirrors. I mean, he wasn't quite inside of it. It broke Tony's concentration.
Oh, here comes Justin. Justin's trying to do the same thing to Ryan Briscoe.
He had a look.
We thought it might be similar to what we saw in Watkins Glen. And look at this. This is deja vu all over again. And that is after the first couple laps, Wilson is really pushing on Briscoe.
Not only is he pushing, guys, he already used his push to pass during that 20-second segment. He was on the OT button, and it didn't benefit him enough to get by Briscoe. Briscoe has also used 1 pass in the 15 allotted. Ditto for Dixon, Franchitti, Rahal, Castroneves. And get this, Hunter-Reay's already used up 2.
And that's a case where we talked about in the previous race, in case you weren't at Kentucky, a lot of people call it the push not to be passed button. That when you think someone is making a run on you, you use it as a defensive mechanism. And the fact that the top, 6 cars all have the same number of overtakes, that's why, because they're using it in concert.
And there we see that little drop box there. If we see a green come up, that means that somebody's going to use it, and nobody is using it right now.
Ryan Hunter-Reay's already used it twice.
Rafael Matos has got a green light popping on his. Of course, he's trying to work his way up from the back. And boy, what a disappointment for him, a guy who tested here and didn't qualify well at all.
Graham Rahal running back in 5th spot. Let's take a look at him going into turn 1.
Very fast corner, about 135 miles an hour. Drop some wheels there. But he didn't panic. Do you notice his hands on the wheel? He didn't panic. He just let the car go off, transition back. He didn't try and yank the wheel back onto the circuit. If you do that, you're going to spin. So that was the right reaction.
Boy, did you hear that engine?
Yeah, not a happy noise.
A rev limiter's not going to stop that. Get it a wheel off the ground.
Still on board. Now this is turn 1. Like I said, this is a 4th gear corner, very fast as you go through there. When I came here as a spectator, I love to go to the outside of turn 1 and watch these Indy cars bust it out through there. It's almost like they defy the laws of gravity when they were going through there. Really a special place.
Ryan Briscoe continues to lead by just a few car lengths over Justin Wilson, who's hanging right in there in 3rd, and so is Scott Dixon. Franchitti and Rahal are your top 5. Then Elio. get down to Robbie Floyd.
Well, right now, both Mike Conway and Oriol Servia on the primary tires moving up to 11th and 12th, respectively. And I think it's two different strategies. Oriol Servia thought he was fast on the blacks and he could pass guys on those Firestone Reds. That was his thought process. As far as Mike Conway's concerned, I think these guys were ready to come in and pit early. But when he's this strong, I think he may stay out there a little longer than expected. Because I talked to Mike just before he got into the car, and he's been fighting this car all week, trying to free it up. They were making differential changes probably an hour and a half ago, doing everything they can to make this car better. And obviously, Robbie, the Ryan Reinbold roll coater machine has found something to their liking with these blacks.
And Robbie, you're spot on. They made big changes, wholesale changes before this race. Why not? And they're working, because Robbie's right. They were planning on just coming in and getting rid of those black tires, but they're happy enough with that car right now to stay out there and say, come on, Mike.
He's up to 12th. Ryan Briscoe has now led 10 of the 13 races this year. Stay with us for more IndyCar Nonstop coming up on Versus.
Hear that? That's the sound of a new and uplifting energy, an energy to touch and improve your world. It lives far beyond the racetrack, through fuel, movies, fashion, music, food, and more. Experience the energy of Brazil. It's in our commerce and our culture. Visit experienceurenergy.com and feel the power of Brazilian products and services.
Hey, we landed.
In the middle of the road. Hop in, there's room.
There's one thing. We're nudists.
Wow.
Ugh. Rear view camera. Ride ready. The Pilot, only from Honda. Honda is proud to be the engine supplier of the IndyCar Series.
This is Testosterone Theater on Versus, and this is August. Sweaty, steamy August. Awesome sports flicks August. With Van Damme. Hiya. How'd he do that? Hiya. Oh no, he can't see. And Sunday Aggression with McScreamy. And Miss Steamy. Yeah. Go back to the minors with Men in Lingerie. Makes you uncomfortable. Watch it anyway. It's Man Golf with Costner and Cheech. Hey. Swing in water, swing after swing. Why won't Cheech stop him? Watch it all on Testosterone Theater on Versus. Hey.
The Honda Indy 200 on Versus is presented by Honda, the engine supplier of the IndyCar Series, and by Peak Performance Products. When you peak, you win. And by Apex Brazil. To learn more about our Brazilian goods and services, log on to experienceurenergy.com.
Welcome back to Mid-Ohio. Mike Conway came in for a change of tires. He put the reds on. He had moved up to 12th position, but got rid of the blacks and is now on the reds.
Tony Kanaan also made a pit stop at the same time, and he had stayed on the lead lap even though we saw him go off in the keyhole. But he still has blacks.
And we did see Conway back out on the reds, and we knew that Robbie just reported that he had made a good start and was moving up, but the team strategy was to come in early, get the reds on, and now Conway can go out and run as fast as he can. He's got no one in front of you. That's the strategy they're using there.
You saw on nonstop Justin Wilson take the lead from Ryan Briscoe. Did in rather an unusual part of the racetrack. Here it is.
Yeah, and that's because Ryan Briscoe got into trouble. Ryan Briscoe drifted wide in turn number 9. He tried valiantly to ward off the advances of a charging Justin Wilson. But even after this point now, Ryan Briscoe has not had the same kind of pace. And look at that nice, clean racing. He wanted to do everything he could. We heard Jack say that at that point they both went to the overtake button because they both knew they were in trouble. They did a drag race. They both hit the button. And look at this. They did everything they could. But Briscoe said, you know what? I just threw that one away.
And you saw Briscoe just get a little movement from the rear as they went in there. But that's what you have to do to pass somebody as tough as it is here. You got to be close enough to take advantage of any little mistake. Then they both choose the push to pass. Really exciting stuff.
And Robbie, one of the reasons why there's a sense of urgency for Wilson to get out in the lead, remember, Ryan Briscoe, by virtue of the fact that he is the leader in the points, has pit number 1. He has a straight shot. It's a decided advantage. Justin Wilson, on the other hand, is mired mid-pack in terms of pit position. Well, if you make pit stops and you can get, like as Wilson would get, he's at 3.7 seconds a lead over Briscoe right now. If you can get about 3 to 5 second lead, that in essence negates Briscoe's opportunity with pit position 1 if they pit under green flag conditions. It won't matter where his pit is. He'll have enough out on the racetrack to translate it down on pit road and negate that position.
Well, he has certainly built up a nice lead here just in the length of time that he's been out front. He's already now more than 4 seconds ahead of Briscoe. 2, 3, 4, and 5 continue to run pretty close together on the racetrack, but Wilson has checked out.
And his fast lap is almost a second faster than what Ryan Briscoe has turned. And I certainly get this sense, Robbie, that Briscoe now is holding up these 2 target cars.
I think you're probably right. He is holding up, but Briscoe, what a great job that he's done. Just to, he's kept his cool. He's let Wilson get away. He's got to have big focus of the championship right now.
Carpenter has moved up 4 positions. Servia 3, Franchitti 2, Matos and Weldon have both moved up 2 positions. We continue to watch 2, 3, 4, and 5 here, led by Ryan Briscoe. Down we go to the car owner of the current leader of the race, Dale Coyne.
Dale, I come up here and I said, is he leading on it or what? And you said, he's saving fuel. Is that true?
He's saving a little fuel. Yeah, obviously we've hit an awful good sweet spot because he's checking out early, so that's good.
Unloading from the truck, this car was pretty good right off the bat, wasn't it? You've been only making the most minute changes.
Yeah, we fell back at Toronto and Edmonton a little bit, and I think we learned from that. We haven't tested here, so we're really happy with where we ended up here.
Confidence right now, you're trying to make this a 2-stop race, I'm sure. That's why you're backing down, even though you're out front.
Everybody's trying to do that, but no, we'll just see how it goes. He's on reds. Let's see how they hold up, and we'll see how the day goes.
Has he said anything to you at all?
No, he's just doing his job.
All's well.
Doing well.
Good job.
An interesting point by Dale Coyne, having not tested because the 3 other cars that he's running away from all tested here. Target Chip Ganassi Racing tested, so did Andretti Green Racing, as well as the Target boys. So if you could just run away, look at that gap. If you could run away from people who came here to test and you didn't, hats off to that engineering staff.
It's fun to listen to Jack Arute talk to Dale Coyne before the race started, recalling '84 when Dale ran here as a driver. The best finish for Dale Coyne Racing was in 1990 with Dean Hall. He finished in 11th position. There's the 14 car of Ryan Hunter-Reay driving for A.J. Foyt. He's currently shown in 7th position, so a good run for Ryan Hunter-Reay. He started in 7th.
And you want to talk about the importance of rolling off the truck with a good car. When they rolled off, he was pretty happy with his car. The one thing he said he's just fighting is in the higher speed corners. He's got a little bit of understeer, but that's a better balance that you'd want to have versus a car being loose. A little bit of understeer in that high speed stuff, you can manage that.
E.J. Vizo, number 13, he runs in 8th spot. Picking up a teammate this week in Robert Dornbos. Off corner number 12. There's 13 out down the front stretch.
It is such a big help to have a 2-car team versus 1. Swing around and look behind for Paul Tracy. Closing that gap down somewhat on EJ.
Paul Tracy is the most experienced driver in today's race at this facility. This is the 12th time that he has competed in open wheel racing at Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course. Former winner here. These guys are about 13 seconds behind the leader of the race, Justin Wilson, as we have completed now 13 of 85 laps. Stay with us for more IndyCar racing on Versus.
At the Indy 500, drivers put complete trust in their cars. But when you're out on the road trying to make it to work, are you sure you can trust your motor oil?
Put your trust in Peak Performance Motor Oil. Formulated to protect against thermal breakdown, Peak is the motor oil tough enough to be the official oil of the Indianapolis 500.
Whether you cover 500 miles in a few hours or it takes hours to get to work, you can count on Peak. When you peak, you win.
If you know passion, you know my name. If the roar of a race car gives you goosebumps. If you believe that no one ever remembers who comes in second. If you're into checkered flags, chugging milk, and burning rubber, you know my name. If you've ever pressed your nose to a chain link fence to get a closer look, if you own a pair of earplugs, if you know Andretti, Rahal, and Unser, you know my name. You know my name because I've been here from the very beginning. As vital today as I was over 100 years ago. 100 miles to go. I am a powerhouse. I am running wide open with no finish line in sight. I am the fire that never goes out. You know my name. I am then, I am now, I am forever. I am Firestone, and I am proud.
After today, only one more race on the road courses, and that will be at Infineon Raceway, Sonoma, California, 2 weeks from today, August 23rd. It'll be live here on Versus at 5 o'clock Eastern Time, the IndyCar Grand Prix of Sonoma. It's part of Versus Red, White, Black, and Blue Summer, and it will be available on Versus HD. Our time together draws short here in this season. After Sonoma, just 3 more races after that, all on ovals, and then the championship. And of course, we will be with you right up until Homestead, Miami's final checkered flag and the decision of who wins the championship in 09. Justin Wilson is leading for the 3rd time this year. He won, of course, at Watkins Glen, also led at St. Pete, as Ryan Briscoe and Scott Dixon and Dario Franchitti all get around Milcaduno in the keyhole. And here comes Graham Rahal.
And Briscoe used the push to pass there as you're making that move, that whole group moving by the Sicko car of Milcaduno. Well, Wilson obviously has a fantastic balance in that race car. And we talked at the top of this before the green flag about smooth always being maybe the fastest. And by watching the in-car cameras leading up to this and in the race is his input in the car. Wilson really feels confident with his balance, and he keeps pulling away lap after lap on Briscoe.
And Eric Houghton is Briscoe's engineer. We just saw that he used the push to pass. How much does it seem to be helping him this time?
It seems like it's able to be either offensive or defensive. Right now, you're just kind of using it for traffic. It's a little different strategy than what we had last week at Kentucky. It's just going to use it as we need throughout the race instead of generally saving it towards the end of the race. Going to use it as we need through the race just for strategic positioning.
Does he like the car? Is he comfortable in it?
Hasn't said much, actually. I think we've settled in, kind of running the same pace as the leader now. We're saving some fuel and see if we can't go a couple laps longer.
Eric, thanks.
Second place, Ryan Briscoe. Would we see Dixon get the tires off the track a little bit ago?
We did, coming off of turn 1. That was looking back off of Briscoe, and just he dropped some wheels coming off of him. That's the same place that we saw Graham Rahal drop some wheels earlier.
Of course, Eric Houghton, who we just spoke to. Let's go back first and see what happened with Dixon as we were talking to Eric Cowden. Sure enough, at the same place, as you said, that Graham Rahal got a couple wheels off there. I was talking about Eric Cowden. He, of course, was longtime engineer for Tony Kanaan through all his Indy Lights days at Andretti Green Racing, and it was last year that he went to Team Penske to work with Briscoe, and obviously that's been a match made in heaven. They've been really working well together.
And Eric knew that he had something special in Ryan when he was going there. Just, you saw what Ryan did last year. He won at Milwaukee. You just saw highlights of this driver's ability on all different types of tracks, and he knew that'd be somebody that he really could grow with there at Penske.
So Justin Wilson has a 5.2-second lead on the rest of the field here at Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course. We'll review others in the field when we come back.
Mid-Ohio race fans, are you ready?
Green flag, green flag.
Back at Mid-Ohio, where Justin Wilson has the field covered right now with about a 5-second lead. Justin Wilson, the second leader of the race. Ryan Briscoe, the pole sitter, was the first leader, and Wilson has really checked out since he took over the lead. Our Honda through the field will show you who's running out there in the order, and behind Justin Wilson we have Milka Duno, who's running in the 21st position. She's a lap down already in the Sitco car from Dreyer and Reinbold Racing. Back of her is the 6 car. That, of course, is Ryan Briscoe, who is about 4.5 seconds behind Justin Wilson. Closely on his heels is the 6 car of Scott Dixon. Lindy?
And Scott Dixon, who was 5th fastest in this morning's practice, has not said one word over his radio today. Expect him in around lap 30.
Next is the 10 car of Dario Franchitti as he tries to get around and does successfully get around Milka Duno. And right behind him is, of course, Graham Rahal, who's 9th in the point standings coming into this event. Robbie?
The pride of New Albany, Ohio, says the car feels all right, even though he had that little off-track excursion for just a moment ago. But he was the quickest in the early morning warm-ups. I think this car is handling very well for him because I'm hearing absolutely nothing for the Newman-Haas-Lanigan team here. Lindy?
And Elio Castroneves, who started 5th, now running 6th. He says he feels a vibration. The track is very slippery for him. He says he thinks the gears are a little tall, and they told him over the radio, it'll come to you. Robbie?
And Ryan Hunter-Reay talking to his camp. They said they're getting great mileage. The car's feeling good. They don't foresee any adjustments coming up, just tire change. And it looks like about everybody's starting to set up here. And as we thought, about lap 25, 26, it's going to start getting busy here on pit road.
After Ryan Hunter-Reay, we have E.J. Viso. E.J.'s best finish this year was on the natural road course at Watkins Glen, where he finished in 7th position, currently in 8th. Behind him is Paul Tracy.
And the team told me that when they change from Mario Moraes and they go to Paul Tracy, that in the simulation, because he weighs over 200 pounds, that they lose 0.3 of a second just in the simulation, unfortunately, because of how heavy Paul Tracy is.
And of course, Mario Moraes is not here because his father passed away, and our condolences to him. There's the 27 of Hideki Muto running in 10th position. Muto, one of the 4 for Andretti Green Racing. The Formula Dream Machine. And there's the 06 that's this week being driven by Oriol Servia. Servia has only competed in one other race this year. That was at the Indianapolis 500. Servia running 11th. Jack?
Let's add a new strategy for Justin Wilson. Dale Coyne, as you ride on board in the Z-Line car, has just told his driver that the magic number for them in terms of fuel mileage on Beekes is 3.1. Now, based upon my calculations, that means that he might want to stretch his fuel mileage in this first run and maybe try and pit on lap 27, or dare I say 28, and let everybody else pit before him.
Well, 3.1, Jack, gives you 30 laps. And so if you subtract parade and pace, we just don't know how long ago he went to 3.1 fuel, but that certainly will be what he needs to get to the end in 2 stops.
He has increased his lead to over 7 seconds, and his last lap was the fastest lap of the race. Nothing wrong with Justin Wilson right now. He is the man of the moment, leading here at Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course.
I like a nice ham. You think that's wrong? We're just enjoying the flavors of a fallen friend. True. I'll tell you what's wrong. A cell phone company that charges hidden fees. That's why I got Boost Mobile. Their $50 monthly unlimited plan has no hidden fees.
$50 unlimited nationwide talk, text, web, and walkie-talkie. No contracts, no hidden fees. Boost Mobile. Unwronged.
I'm running low on energy. Hit this lap. 3, 2,
Get your heart ready. A new energy is going to jolt you. The unique energy of Brazilian products and services.
Fuel. Watch me.
Go to experienceourenergy.com and discover Brazilian products.
At TireRack.com, we stock more tires than anyone else, anywhere. Nearly 1 million tires. But we don't just stock them, we test them. And we post user reviews, so you can find which tires are the best for you and your car. All this at a price that won't slow you down. And that's 1 in a million, or in most cases, 4 in a million. The biggest selection of tires anywhere. One more way, Tire Rack is revolutionizing the way you buy tires.
TireRack.com. Research, buy, deliver, install.
What does greatness taste like?
Miller Lite.
Off the glass, centered in front. Oh, what a great move. Another great move. He skates in on goal. He shoots. He scores! Unbelievable! It's all over. Oh, my!
That's what greatness tastes like. Triple hops brewed, great Pilsner taste. Miller Lite. Taste greatness.
Pit stops being made here at Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course, the first of the day. Danica Patrick gets on some primary tires, the black. She goes back onto the racetrack. Oriol Servia came in for a pit stop, and he changed to reds. And, of course, Conway a little bit earlier put his reds on. We're on board with Tony Kanaan, who's having a difficult time moving up through the field. He got off course early, then made a pit stop, and he is currently running in 17th position. Started up in the 4th row.
As part of this run that he's getting on his teammate Danica. Remember, Danica just came out of the pits, so she's still getting those tires up to temperature and pressure. That just gives that little edge for TK to get along inside.
By the way, during that move, she hit her overtake assist, so she did not want him to go by. She was trying to use it defensively while she was coming up to speed.
Ryan Briscoe and Scott Dixon battle for 2nd position. They're right together on the racetrack. And Dario and Graham are not too far. Those 4 have been together since the drop of the green flag.
And from the standpoint of this 4, I mean, as long as they can kind of remain status quo, I think they're pretty happy with that. Don't let any of them kind of check out. Remember, we still got a couple pit stops to get through. Let's cycle down here before we do anything crazy out on the racetrack.
Coming up on turn 11. Here comes the carousel.
And Eliel Castro-Neves told me before the race he thought that the race would be won or lost on outlaps, like we saw Danica doing, trying to get up to speed quickly, and he felt the cars would be so close together. He didn't think that, of course, Justin Wilson was going to check out like this to where it doesn't, you know, his outlap won't make any difference as long as he can get in and out of the pits. But for these 4, the race off of pit road when the tires are not up to temperature is going to be key because the track has been so slick. Also worth noting that when Jack was talking about the pit disadvantage for Justin Wilson, it's only a disadvantage if they all pit at the same time. If there were a caution and you all pit you're at a super disadvantage because when you pull out in the traffic stream, but when you have a nice lead like this, as you said earlier, that negates the whole disadvantage you have because he'll get to stop with no one else around him, and it won't be any kind of setback for him.
Let's see if he pits. There's turn 11. Coming up on 12. We'll enter the pits to the left of your screen if he does. Nope. Stayed out.
So when you're fast and you stay out, that's even better. See if any of the other 4 hit pit road.
But again, you know, by Wilson's crew guys laying their equipment out, that's a little bit of the mind game saying, hey, they're going to come in, maybe we should do something. What haven't we thought of? I mean, that's a little bit of the gamesmanship. Tony Kanaan there chasing down Richard Antonucci. We haven't talked too much about him, but Antonucci has really done a good job for that Greg Beck team. Every time he's gotten in this car, they keep making it better and faster. And I talked to him after the warm-up. He said, we just keep pressing enough buttons here that really make this more and more comfortable.
It's a battle for 8th position. Paul Tracy all over the rear wing of E.J. Viso.
He's got a nice run.
Back to Justin Wilson. Let's see if he enters pit lane this time. Yes, he does. Robbie Floyd. Justin Wilson is headed for you.
It looked like he was going to come in the lap earlier, and the right front tire changer told everybody to calm down. He's not coming in. And, you know, you would think that he'd be going out there taking off on sticker tires, but that's not the case. They put on a set of scuffed blacks. They're trying to get that full load of fuel in. Ethanol's in, and everything is fine. And just behind him in the 02 car, Graham Rahal also pulls in. It's starting to get busy down here on pit road. Again, look like no adjustment for the McDonald's car and a full load of fuel, and they're back out.
So our 1st and 5th place car came in. There's Castro Neves, who is getting his service completed and rolling back onto the racetrack.
This is where that outlap comes into play. Jan said, Elio said, this is the key. Well, right now, busting it out of pit lane on cold tires, what he does in this one lap, he's saying that's where you have the opportunity to make up a second or two or lose a second or two.
And here are the 2 that are making fuel, Ryan Briscoe and Scott Dixon. I guess also count in Dario Franchitti. They have been able to go an extra lap, and that's going to be handy.
Are they coming in? Nope.
Wow, so they're making big-time fuel. If you can get 2 laps in the first stint, that means when you get to the 2nd and 3rd stint, you don't have to run any fuel-saving mixture, and that makes these cars, Robbie, a lot quicker around here.
And on some of our calculations early on, I mean, we said for these guys to be able to go this distance close to lap 30, they really had to be conserving fuel from the get-go. So this may tie in a little bit to why Wilson was breaking away a little bit. Maybe he wasn't conserving as much fuel, even though Dale said, yeah, he was. He came in, you know, a lap 2 ago, 2 laps ago.
The Penske team is laid out for Ryan Briscoe. We'll see if he chooses to come in this lap. He is back in the lead.
Those 3 cars have got to hit pit road now because they're, unless they've, I mean, that's some
magic.
That's some magic there because just 22 gallons of fuel in there, and we know what kind of fuel economy you get at Mid-Ohio. I would expect all 3. Certainly Briscoe's going to hit the pits, I think, this time.
Especially with slow traffic in front of him. The last thing you want to do is get slowed up here. So now's your time to hit pit road.
And Briscoe comes in. Dixon stays out. Franchitti's right behind Briscoe.
And Ryan Briscoe coming off of a win at Kentucky last week here at Mid-Ohio. This is where he won his first road course race last year. Ryan Briscoe will get brand new black tires. He will lose the reds, and he will get a full tank of fuel. And here he goes. Right now he's out.
Who's going to win the battle?
Here comes Wilson.
Yeah, Wilson's at full speed, though. Justin's going to get the lead back from Ryan. But look how close they are.
Elio Castro Castro Neves said out laps were going to be the key, because if Justin Wilson would have been a couple of ticks slower, he would have just lost the lead.
Yeah, remember, he had about a 7-second lead, Wilson did, when he came in. So, you know, Ryan Briscoe obviously made up about maybe 5 seconds there, the fact that he's in the screen.
But don't count out Scott Dixon. Scott Dixon is the master at fuel. He didn't pit. He'll have the same shot that these two did to see if they can beat Wilson, because he'll be in next time around.
TK hits pit lane.
And by the way, they've made changes to these fuel rigs on this airline that you see right now. That has now a manual closing, that they won't have that same sort of fuel spillage like we saw in the previous race. Dixon now hitting pit road as we thought.
Scott Dixon, the 2007 winner who started third here today. He was disappointed with that because he set a qualifying lap record yesterday. He said, we have the speed in this car to win. He is off the res. He's on a brand new set of blacks, and he's out.
And it's another close one.
But now the race is, what is Dixon going to do with Briscoe? And we don't even see, there's Briscoe coming off a 1.
There's a way to get a couple of spots.
So by Dixon staying out on that extra lap, obviously his pit-in lap was very good. They did a great job servicing him, and there he gained a spot, track position. Great job for Dixon.
Great job by Dixon as he now moves up to second position. Can he stay up with Justin Wilson? Jackaroot.
Guys, after watching those pit stops, I'm sitting here and I'm looking at it. You notice the guys that pitted early, including Justin Wilson, they got the 4 Firestone tires off, but they had to still pack full of fuel. What I found fascinating is it didn't happen with the number 9 car with Scott Dixon. When you look at the aggregate time spent on pit road, I'm beginning to do the early projections that Scott Dixon has the advantage, despite the fact that he's currently being shown in the second place. Remember now, there's still another set of pit stops to go, and a lot of racing left here in Mid-Ohio. We'll have it all for you next.
Hear that? That's the sound of a new and uplifting energy, an energy to touch and improve your world. It lives far beyond the racetrack, through fuel, movies, fashion, music, food, and more. Experience the energy of Brazil. It's in our commerce and our culture. Visit experienceurenergy.com and feel the power of Brazilian products and services.
You guys need a lift? Yeah, I get about 23 on the highway.
But can it crush cars?
Surprisingly fuel efficient. Ride ready. The Pilot, only from Honda. Honda is proud to be the engine supplier of the IndyCar Series.
Speed is about winning races, breaking records, and making history. What do I see at 230 miles an hour? It's tunnel vision, and you have one goal, the checker flag. Speed is my drug.
Tonight on Versus, Taurus versus Bowles at 9, Sports Soup at 11, and Fanarchy at 11:30. All part of Versus Red, White, Black, and Blue Summer.
We are at Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course, about 70 miles, maybe 60 miles northeast of Columbus. And Justin Wilson is getting the job done here this afternoon. He has built up about a second advantage over Scott Dixon. Now, during the pit stops, remember how Viso and Tracy were running together on the racetrack? Well, they pitted at the same time, and look what happened when they came out. A little bit of, excuse me, I think I'll go in front of you.
Yeah, well, that's what Jack was talking about on pit position. And that was the KV Racing team did an equal or slightly better pit stop, but you could pull out in front of someone, and it's always an advantage to be farther down pit road, and that was legal. Paul Tracy got the spot by good pit work.
The American Le Mans Series ran here at Mid-Ohio, and there was a major announcement. Let's get that checked out from Jack.
Yeah, Gilles de Ferran announced before the race that he was going to retire from the cockpit. Then you go on and you win the race. But first of all, I want to know if you're going to retire in the way that you ran that American Le Mans Series race, why would you be retiring? You're at the top of your game.
That's exactly why I should be retiring, Jack. I mean, very much like I did the first time around when I was racing Indy cars. I didn't want to see the other side of the hill. And this time around, I think our team is a much more important priority for me. Yes, I'm having a good time behind the cockpit. I want to be as competitive as I can be, and us winning races is great. But I think my focus is better spent on us trying to expand our team.
Into the Indy Racing League and IndyCar competition?
Yeah, I guess I set some pretty lofty goals here for us. We want to continue in the American Le Mans Series with hopefully 2 cars next year, but I want to expand the team into IndyCar racing and hopefully have 2 cars here next year.
When I say Will Power, as we watch this battle for the lead, what do you think? Would Will Power be a candidate for you? Will Power a candidate for you?
Well, I think Will Power is a great driver. He certainly did a great job. I mean, his win in Edmonton was fantastic, especially for a guy that's not full season.
Oh, that was a political answer. Jill and I are watching a dandy battle here, and Justin Wilson, well, he's not that far out front. Jill, do you agree with me that right now the guy with the advantage has got to be Scott Dixon with what we've seen?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, he did a great job on the first stint to be saving as much fuel as he did. He went 3, I believe, maybe 4 laps longer than Wilson, and his obviously in laps are always quicker than out laps, and now he's in a great position. He probably can run a richer fuel mixture, and it's on the attack, as we can see.
Jill, you've been all over the place. You've been, in course, in Indy cars, the Indy 500. You've run American Le Mans, Formula One you ran. You were even a broadcast partner with me and some of the other folks here. What stands out as the thing outside of the Indy 500 victory that you'll never forget?
Well, I tell you,
it's not TV. Don't tell me it's TV.
Well, working with you, Jack, that was the highlight of my life. But no, I mean,
I'm going to interrupt you. Look at this. Bill Caduno's a moving pick, and we have a new leader. Bob, let's go back up to you.
Wow. Bill Caduno. Still, Dixon has still not been able to get around her, but she really threw the block that allowed Scott to get around Wilson.
Is it a block, or was that like a basketball pick? You know how you have one guy set up a pick, and Scott Dixon just kind of saw that develop and took advantage of it.
Yep. And Gilles de Ferran was right on the money there, is that you had a guy in Scott Dixon that held back, saved fuel a lot. I mean, he went 2 laps longer, had a great outlap, and now he just seized the moment. He waited for traffic. We saw that he was closing in, but here he seizes the moment, gets right up behind. And when Robbie, when you see a car that you know you're going to come, you immediately start thinking, pick. How can I set it up?
And that's exactly what was going through Dixon's mind. So now he's just laying back there. Which way is Wilson going to go? Boom. Goes to the inside.
But see, it's not over because they got to run all the way through. See, he didn't get it done, and Wilson got off of that sealer. The dark part of the racetrack has a lot more grip than the light. That's the great thing about the overhead shots. If you get pushed to the outside of the sealer, there's not very much grip because Wilson was hanging on here. He thought he had it, but right there, lighter pavement, less grip, couldn't hang on to it.
And looking down, there is Dixon on the inside. Look at that nice clean pop-up. But now Dixon slows up because Milka comes down, and Wilson tries to hold on to that outside. Not enough grip out there, has to give it up.
Well, Scott Dixon not only has the lead, but at the moment he is in the points lead of the IndyCar Series. We've got a lot more, of course, competition to go today and throughout the season. But man, what a points battle we have going on. Down to Robbie.
Well, you talk about not much grip on the outside for Justin Wilson. He had a lot of grip with the Firestone Reds, had that big lead. And when they bring him in, the first thing is all the tire techs from Firestone come over here and check him out. When he was that fast, and we heard Dale say he was conserving fuel, but when you look at this tire, it is perfect. I mean, hardly anywhere. You still see the tread or the depth indicators here on the top. It looks just like a new one. So he was conserving his tires, but maybe using up a little bit more fuel. But as far as the Firestone Reds, they went 28 laps with Justin Wilson. His best lap was 24. So these things are fast and they last.
Scott Dixon, the leader here at Mid-Ohio, over Wilson, Briscoe, Franchitti, and Rahal. Those are your top 5 with 38 of 85 laps completed of the Honda Indy 200. Helio Castroneves off course in the gravel, but got it going. It is a full course caution, however, our first of the day. You don't often see Helio off course, do you?
And that was in turn 9. That's the same place where we saw Briscoe go high a little bit and Wilson get the lead. Did you notice all the gravel he dumped back onto the circuit? That's what you need to look at. So here's...
Got a wiggle just on that transition. Ryan Briscoe's issue was a little bit later in the corner, so this was early on, and amazing that A, he kept it running, B, he could get it out of that gravel.
Yeah, you're approaching that corner at close to 130 miles an hour, so as he comes off the gas and kind of started braking there, that's where the rear of the car stepped out, just that little mess, but a very quick section.
And by my calculations, it would do you no good to stop right now. Unless you, no, not even Servia and Conway, unless you wanted to make a change on tires, because it's out of the window. So this should be just a pack them up type of thing. Now, if you're running at the back, sure, duck onto pit road, pick up some fresh tires and fuel. But otherwise, I think the leaders will all stay as they are.
So under a first full course caution here at Mid-Ohio with Dixon leading Wilson, Briscoe, Franchitti, and Rahal. The second 5, Ryan Hunter-Reay, Castroneves will drop out because of his off-course excursion. Marco Andretti doing well. So is Paul Tracy, Rafa Matos, and Hideki Muto.
Now, one of the best things you can do if you go off, A, is to get it out of the gravel, and B, cause a full course caution so you catch back up again. So he made his own yellow, got out of there, and now he can make up ground.
So is that what you always think about, do you think, when you're going off track as a driver? It's like, okay, now how can I bring out my own full course yellow and get back out there? You think that's a strategy?
No, yeah, keep it running. It's like keep it running, keep it running, keep it running, because there's no starters on these cars.
You rarely see a driver go into that pea gravel and drive out of it like you did. Usually you're just down and sink into it and you're stuck.
There's Marco Andretti in the 26 car, Lindy.
Both times Marco has been here in 07 and 08, he was involved in contact. Well, this time he has moved up to 8 from 13. I'm told that they put him on new black tires and then told him, use all the fuel you need, Marco, to gain ground here.
Yeah, he was running back in the 14th, 15th position, but has moved up nicely. Remember here 2 years ago in 07, right after the green flag came out, watch what happened. He has contact with TK and over he goes. Marco was okay, but out of the race. There's the contact.
And that was all AGR teammates, kind of all in that little cluster there. There was Franchitti in the Canadian Club car.
Now, on a happier note, 3 years ago, he won at Infineon in Sonoma, California, and that's where we will be in 2 weeks. Look at the crowd. Great crowd here today.
It's really, as a spectator, to come here, you can go down here into this section, 4, 5, 6, which is a rhythm section. Then you can drive up or walk up or get in your bike, and you can go up to the keyhole. That's where this is. Right. Where turn 2 is. You can sit on that mound. You can go back and look at turn 11. And they have beautiful, nice grounds in terms of the way they've pushed up some barriers to put grass on to sit on. Really is first rate.
Yeah, we'll keep an eye on pit lane and see if anybody does come in. By the way, Scott Dixon is now leading his 9th race of the year. Until today, he had led 494 laps this year. But
look at this fake job, Bob. Look at all these guys. Oh, well, we were just kidding.
And when we get back here to go green, what I really want to see is who's going to be using that overtake button.
Yep. Helio does come in after his off-course excursion. We're going to take a break and be back for the restart in a moment on Versus.
Yeah, we know. You missed it because you were busy tweeting.
Trouble for Danica Patrick, hard into the tire barrier.
Or you and your buddies totally almost decided to go to a race one time.
Helio wins it.
Then didn't.
Well, this is IndyCar Series Championship Weekend. The ultimate destination with 3 races, celebrities, a concert, beaches, parties, nightlife, fireworks, glitz, glamour, fun, sun. And no more lame excuses. See you in Miami.
Hey, Skip, need you in the wheelhouse.
Tenacious grip, no matter the conditions. Firehawk tires with Unity technology, only from Firestone.
I'm running low on energy. Pit this lap, pit this lap. 3, 2,
Get your heart ready. A new energy is going to jolt you. The unique energy of Brazilian products and services.
Return your fuel. Return your fuel. Watch me.
Go to experienceourenergy.com and discover Brazilian products.
The World Championships begin August 15th, part of Versus Red, White, Black, and Blue Summer. Miguel Angel Torres. Unbeaten in 5 years. Can undefeated Brian Bowles pose a threat? Ask his last 7 victims. Torres versus Bowles, live tonight, only on Versus.
Has just come out to resume our Honda Indy Grand Prix here at Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course. It is Scott Dixon leading Wilson, Briscoe and Franchitti in a battle for the 3rd position, and Graham Rahal.
Watch Rahal, though. Watch Rahal. He's got to move. He's going to try it.
He's alongside.
Nice.
Very clean. Very clean.
Saw Franchitti get a little bit squirrely coming off the keyhole, and Graham Rahal pounced on it and seized the moment.
We had 4 cars pit during that caution. Elio Castroneves, Dan Weldon, Ed Carpenter, and Marco Andretti. And look now.
Dario is all over him.
Yep.
You can't do anything right here. You got a fast left-hander through here. Maybe now you come into the turn right onto the front straightaway. Can you get anything done?
You ever wondered when they say the car in front of me took the air off me? Look at that. You could just, that was such a great visual representation of how that air, that rear wing, is going to disturb what Dario Franchitti is doing. But what a great shot to see him back there wrestling with that car.
Just past the halfway point. Downshift to 2nd. Has really closed things in, of course. Watching E.J. Vistro back there in 10th spot.
It was fun to see just what.
Oh, Danica's off course in the sand trap, and looks like she's pretty much buried.
Yeah, where we saw Elio be able to drive out of his sand trap, that's not going to happen there.
Another full course caution, 2nd.
That's at the end of the main straightaway there as you go into turn 4.
During the break, Jack said, remember, yellows breed yellows.
Yeah, that's right.
I go, well, you're going to need a lot for that to work for Marco Andretti, but you just had a teammate and it's some help.
And still, if you came in right now under this yellow, you still would be a big...
Conway. Yes. Yes, that was an assisted gravel trap stop. He'll come up to the right, obviously, from behind. Well,
we never even saw him in the picture, which means that Mike was only up alongside, you know,
you got to
right
turn
rear.
in. At some point, I'm sure she knew he was coming, but she's got to turn in. And he's not even close. There's no way.
No.
Just, sorry, Mike. That is, you got to get yourself in better position than that. And unfortunately, he carries on, and she ends up buried in the sand trap.
Yep. So,
well, Dale Coyne gets up from his seat.
well, it's
underneath the cover.
And it's a tough call right now because if you did come in, you really would be stretching it to think you can make it to the end of this race.
You know why he wants to come in? He wants to come in because Justin doesn't like the blacks. As soon as they put the blacks on that car, Justin went backwards. That car was flying on the red, so he might be thinking, would I want to go ahead and throw away some track position to get my man on the reds? But Robbie, you can't make it to the end on fuel unless, you know, Jack's yellows breed yellows goes for the whole rest of the event.
But that's a lot of yellows. That's a lot of yellows.
That's a ton, yeah.
Johnny Rutherford has the lead of the race once again as we look down
Briscoe set out too.
Yep.
But we saw this last time.
And Briscoe was set out with the red tires there, just as a FYI. Those were red tires he definitely had laid out.
Saw the same for Wilson.
Yep.
Well,
surprise, surprise.
They just passed up the entry to the pit, so everybody stays out.
Can't make it to the end. There's no reason.
Yep. All right, we'll take another break since we're under caution once again with Scott Dixon leading the way at Mid-Ohio.
At the Indy 500, drivers put complete trust in their cars. But when you're out on the road trying to make it to work, are you sure you can trust your motor oil?
Put your trust in Peak Performance Motor Oil. Formulated to protect against thermal breakdown, Peak is the motor oil tough enough to be the official oil of the Indianapolis 500.
Whether you cover 500 miles in a few hours or it takes hours to get to work, you can count on Peak. When you peak, you win.
What does greatness taste like?
Miller Lite.
Off the glass, centered in front. Oh, what a great move. Another great move. He skates him on goal. He shoots. He scores! Unbelievable! It's all over. Oh, my!
That's what greatness tastes like. Triple hops brewed, great Pilsner taste. Miller Lite. Taste greatness.
Hear that? That's the sound of a new and uplifting energy, an energy to touch and improve your world. It lives far beyond the racetrack, through fuel, movies, fashion, music, food, and more. Experience the energy of Brazil. It's in our commerce and our culture. Visit experienceurenergy.com and feel the power of Brazilian products and services.
There was some back markers and Junior was boxed. He come out of the toe. I was on the inside line already. And we went side by side into turn 3.
He came on lap traffic and, you know, he got on the inside of me and, you know, 2 guys went into turn 3 and only 1 was going to come out. And it wasn't me.
Has a lap and a half. Here goes Emo on the inside. Here comes Emo. He blocks him down low.
Emo didn't like that.
And they're still side by side going into turn 3. Emo down low in the middle of the track, and Emo may have it. They almost touch.
Oh, they did touch.
Wheels. And into the wall is Al Jr. Emo continues on.
And I was okay. I got out of the car and I went out onto the track and with the full intention of telling him and showing him exactly what I thought about what had happened. You know, Emerson led basically the entire day. You know, I mean, he led it, and he was coming around to get the checkered flag for his first Indy 500. It was about winning. You know, he didn't do anything intentionally. And so I gave him thumbs up and clapped my hands and gave him thumbs up and told what he ever gave me.
All year long, we're course, saluting the Indianapolis Motor Speedway on its 100th anniversary. Emerson Fittipaldi won here 3 times, and Al Unser Jr. won here twice. And of course, both were successful at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. But that was one of the most memorable things in Speedway history.
Pretty classy.
Yep.
Pretty classy move.
Well, here's the situation. 47 laps completed of 85. We've had 3 leaders, 5 lead changes, 2 cautions. We're in our second caution because of contact between Danica Patrick and Mike Conway that sent Danica into the sand trap. She is back going once again, and we are about to go back to green as the pace car has pulled off, and the green flag comes out once again. Scott Dixon.
So who's going to go for the overtake button? Who's going to just take a little bit of advantage of it and see if they can get something done?
Here they come down the straightaway into the keyhole. Turn 2. Anybody going to pass? No.
No, and nothing yet. Nobody's gone for that overtake yet. Is Wilson going to put himself in a position that's just close enough to Dixon to say, I want it? Matos is back in the field. Rahal is right on board with Rahal. He just went
defensive. That was a defensive move. You saw there was no way he was going to get Briscoe, but he was worried about Franchitti from behind. Ooh. Got to clean the tires off when you run around behind the pace car. You pick up lots of marbles.
And notice how he's got his gloves rolled up. He's got his right glove rolled up just so he can get a little fresh air that's just kind of cooling that wrist down. Woo! This is the wheel spin across the rise.
Graham's running 4th.
And if you talk to Graham or you hear him on the radio, he's saying the car's fairly good, really not offering too much, but the big picture is the season. Currently 9th in points with Justin Wilson just behind him, but he's really focusing on the guys in front of him in points. Marco Andretti, Tony Kanaan, Dan Weldon, Danica Patrick, all having bad days considerably today. If he keep that thing in top 5, maybe move it up, his goal is to finish 5th overall for the season. He's strong on the road courses, but we've seen him P1 and qualifying on the ovals too, so that goal is attainable, and right now he's still trying to push today to help out at the end when we finish up in Homestead.
I think that's a fair goal that he set for himself.
Yeah. Mike Conway had a drive-through penalty. He has served it, is back on the racetrack. Pretty much single file racing going on right now.
But on that last lap, Justin Wilson did go for the overtake assist, so he is trying to make something happen.
On board with Tony Kanaan, looking back to Robert Dornbos. 12th and 13th.
Robert Dornbos said he didn't expect miracles changing to a team at the last moment, but they're going to go testing in Sonoma next week to where they can get a feel for he and his engineer Neil Fife to figure out what kind of working relationship they need and what he wants from the car. So he expects bigger things as the year goes on.
Separation between first and second, about a second, maybe 1.2 seconds.
And we saw that lap before. Wilson did go to the overtake button just to try and close that gap, I think, just so he could stay a little closer to Dixon and just do what he can to fill the mirrors.
Back in 14th position is Marco Andretti. There he is.
And guys, Marco Andretti pitted about 8 laps ago, and a lot of us were wondering, gee, why would you do that? Let me tell you the strategy I think that he and Kyle Moyer have engaged in. They don't have to worry about fuel. They know they're going to be short. So what they're going to do with the advantage of these alternate tires is try and get Marco further up into the field. Kyle Moyer repeatedly has told Marco, look, don't worry about fuel. Run wide open. Fuel position 1 as he goes way off on the grass.
He was wide open and wide, Jack.
Yeah, so you can tell. And I think what they're going to count on is they're going to count on maybe a late caution where they'll be able to get back in. Meanwhile, for Andretti Green Racing, it's been a bit of a disappointing day. So if you're running in 14th spot, after one guy goes off the racetrack, another guy spins off the racetrack, it's worth the gamble. I like this strategy.
And right behind Marco is Dan Weldon and then Elio Castroneves. Weldon 15th and Castroneves in 16th. Up front, it is Scott Dixon. And it's just a little more than a second advantage over Justin Wilson. Briscoe's third, then Rahal and Franchitti. We'll be right back on Versus.
races left, and they're all on Versus. The fastest drivers on the planet are on the final laps to the championship. Live from Sonoma, Sunday, August 23rd at 5. Tonight on Versus, Taurus versus Bowles at 9, Sports Soup at 11, and Fanarchy at 11:30. All part of Versus Red, White, Black, and Blue Summer.
You want to keep warm when you're feeling chilled, but you don't want to raise your heating bill. Blankets are okay, but they can slip and slide. And when you need to reach for something, your hands are trapped inside. Now, there's the Snuggie, the blanket that has sleeves. The Snuggie keeps you totally warm and gives you the freedom to use your hands. So now you can work the remote or read a book in total warmth and comfort. Perfect for chilly outdoor evenings. And it's ideal for staying cozy and warm at sporting events. Snuggie is made of ultra-soft, thick, luxurious fleece. Super large, one size fits all. Now you can do what you need to and stay totally warm with the Snuggie. Call now and you'll get the Snuggie for only $19.95. Available in royal blue, sage green, and burgundy. You'll also receive our present open book light, a $15 value free. But call right now and we'll give you 2 Snuggies and 2 book lights for only $19.95.
Call 1-800-851-3873. Remember, call now and get an additional Snuggie and book light. Just pay processing and handling. Call 1-800-851-3873.
Back in Mid-Ohio, here's what's happened so far.
On lap 6, the move of the race by Ryan Briscoe when he swings wide. Here comes Justin Wilson taking advantage of that. He fought back, but what a fantastic move by Justin Wilson, and he took off to the races until Scott Dixon went 3 laps longer on fuel and almost leapfrogged him on a pit stop. But you know what? It wasn't over because Scott Dixon was much faster on the black sidewall. Firestones used a bit of help from Milcaduno here to split. Justin Wilson gets off of the dark part of the pavement. Scott Dixon goes to the lead. And then Mike Conway, who has had a tough season, gave the chrome horn to Danica Patrick. Nothing that she did wrong. Ended up in the gravel trap. No place to go there. Full of gravel. Tough break for her. But now we're getting close to the next round of pit stops to see how this all strategy. And I think Scott Dixon is in the catbird seat doing that extra 3 laps over Wilson.
And remember, one of the strategies that we always like on road courses, if you can be the first to make the last stop. And you're saying, Jan, the window's going to open up in the next lap for some of these guys right now.
We're on lap number 55, so we got 30 to go. On board with Rahal once again, running 4th.
So, since we have a moment, we're looking at the race summary. 3 leaders, 5 lead changes. Wilson led the most. But the strategy, Robbie, the reason we always say you want to be the first to make the last stop, if there were a caution and you've already stopped, you get the free pass to the front when other people pit. So you may have people pit before they actually need to. So they're in that position to take advantage in case we get a caution. Jack?
Yeah, and keep in mind, Jan, that first and the last stop for a guy like Scott Dixon who went further, that means he doesn't have as much fuel to fill into the tank. That means that they'll be able to change 4 tires and not have to pack the car full of fuel. And every second that you can gain, and you know, all of the teams, what they do is they start from the end, the last stop, and work their way back through the pack.
Well, let's give some attention to Ryan Hunter-Reay, who has really driven a good race so far today. He is running in 6th position for A.J. Foyt, who ran here in 1988. And Elio Castroneves is back in the pits.
Because he wants to be the first to make the last stop. He's got nothing to lose because he's running at the back. And in case there's a caution, he would get a free pass if it happens between now and when the next leaders pit.
Yeah, so in the next 2 laps, that's what he wants. There's Tracy. He's working hard.
Yep. Tracy is running in the 7th position. Paul having a good day. Right behind him is Rafa Matos, who has used the overtake assist, I think, more than anybody else, and it's put him up to 8th position for Lusso Dragon Racing.
Now, these would be candidates, I think, you go ahead and hit pit road. And, hey,
oh, come on.
Yeah.
That was almost seemed staged.
It was not.
And talking with Rafa yesterday, they've really been working hard on the balance. At one point, he gets too much grip on the front of the car. Then the rear gets loose. He's just been fighting that happy little bit.
Oriol Servia hits pit lane. He was running 11th.
And Oriol Servia also has a brand new set of reds to throw on there. They said he's going to have clear track in front of him. You're going to have to push like hell.
And he's a guy that's going to have a hard time doing that, Robbie. He hasn't driven on a road course since Australia. I asked him this morning, how you feeling? He goes, well, I'm pretty sore. I go, how are you going to be in the race? He says, I'll be okay in the race. He says, but the next day,
afterward,
I'm going to be a hurting puppy.
Racetrack rheumatism.
He also said that, you know, Michael Schumacher, big deal. He says, you know, I didn't drive anything. I came over here with nothing, no karting, anything. Got out here, and I'm going to do the race. He's a tough guy, that Oriol Servia.
Scott Dixon has opened up a 5-second advantage on Justin Wilson. Seems like that when somebody gets in the lead, he can really open up an advantage, as Wilson did earlier.
I will say that every lap that you run right now that you don't pit, you are gambling. Because if there was that caution, these guys are going to give away their race. But they also want to wait, because if they wait, they'll be faster. So right now, this is the danger zone, as I call it.
Yeah. And like you say, the one guy that would benefit from that is Castro Neves, because he was the first one to do the stop. So right now, he wants him to go yellow. TK in and out for service on Firestone Reds.
Actually, anybody who pits, doesn't really matter what order, but anyone who has pitted before it goes caution, they get the advantage.
And Carpenter comes in.
But of course, if there's no caution, then this is no big deal, which obviously Scott Dixon, Justin Wilson, Ryan Briscoe, they all feel that it's not an issue, which is why they haven't stopped. But they're nervous.
Look at the gap. So there were on board with Wilson, and Dixon has pulled out almost a 6-second gap, and we know Dixon's as good as anybody on that outlap. Service in the pit from the Ganassi team, and then the outlap. He's brilliant.
There's the gap. Paul Tracy comes in for his final pit stop.
And Paul Tracy comes in. No changes for this car. Going to try and get enough fuel in it. This car. And one thing that was surprising, though, is Tracy at the start of the race, we expected him to be very aggressive. The guy said it wasn't the right place, the right time, and he had to back it down.
And we heard yesterday that Mario Moraes, and again, his father passed away. That's why he's not here this weekend. But he is the one that chose Paul Tracy to take over this car here this weekend. After their incident, where was it?
Edmonton. Where Tracy gave Mario the chrome horn.
Right.
But it really does make sense for Paul to come in and sub there, because he had worked with the team. He knew the players there. That is the simplest transition of a driver change. So when are we going to see this guy down pit road?
I mean, right now he's looking great, but if for some reason somebody slips off, they are going to be kicking themselves.
So with Wilson, who hasn't really performed as well on the Firestone Blacks for what his field was, does he come in and put scuffed reds on?
Well, he definitely goes for reds. Well, let's see.
He's used his sticker reds.
It has to be scuffed, yeah.
It has to be.
They used them all at the start, so it has to be scuffed reds.
14th and 15th here, Viso and Elio. Couple of teams laid out on pit lane.
The G-force even bends the antenna.
Yeah.
Although it might just be a bit of the airflow.
Graham Rahall's team laid out. Got the reds ready to put on.
And again, another set of scuffed reds, which means that all these guys used up 2 sets of the alternate reds.
Here's the entrance. Yep, he's coming in. Jack Arrudi's headed toward you.
At 60 miles an hour, the McDonald's drive-thru team gets ready to go to work. Scuffed reds will go on, the scuffed red Firestone tires. But one thing they've discovered when they're scuffed in, the heat cycle doesn't seem to affect them. Packing in the ethanol fuel, just about equal to the change of tires, maybe a second longer to fill the tank.
Total of 8.3 for Graham as he rolls back out onto the racetrack. Here's Dan Weldon in the National Guard car making a pit stop. Weldon had moved up to 9th, but he relinquishes that now for his final stop. He's back out there.
He expected big things. Dan Weldon had thought at the end of Edmonton that they had learned something on the car that was going to help them, and he was definitely frustrated after his first session here that it didn't translate to Mid-Ohio.
I'd like to see if Justin comes in. No, stays out.
Well, as long as you've run the danger zone this long, you might as well keep doing it. I mean, you know, you don't want to play your strategy halfway.
Unless you think Justin's going to be a lot happier and a lot faster on getting red tires, because right now Dixon has been beating him up on it.
Ryan Hunter-Reay, the ABC supply number 14 pulls in, going to get the proper amount of fuel, but a brand new set of sticker blacks going to the Firestone Firehawks. They said no problems for him. He started in 7th. He was down to 6th. And the best finish for A.J. Foyt Racing here was Robbie Gordon back in 1993, a 2nd place. He's trying to at least match that mark.
Dixon trying to put as much racetrack between himself and Wilson as possible before he makes his final stop.
7+ seconds on Wilson.
And most of those laps that you see there that have been led on road courses this year have come today. In fact, he'd only led 3 laps on road courses in the 2009 season prior to today.
Bob, I think one of the reasons why Justin Wilson is staying out as long as he has is he knows as he gets ready to come on pit road, he's got to get to the Reds. It's the only shot he's got.
He's low on fuel. He's barely making it. Robbie.
As Justin Wilson pulls up, I see the red scuffs going back on one more time. Again, don't know why he was real slow here at this last portion. Again, making sure he gets a tap over the shoulder at his fuel man. They light back up and he stalls the car. He killed the motor. Now having to fire that Honda back up. They're trying to find neutral to back it up into his pit box. His pit box is only 40 feet wide, very tight. And with Dan Weldon's crew looking on, again, another bump start not happening. He cannot find neutral. He now has neutral, gets a thumbs up, fires it up. Can he get it going this time? And he does. That 30+ second stop is just got to kill it.
Yeah.
And Robbie, I think there was an issue before he got there. Obviously, if he had run it low on fuel, even though you fill it up, it takes a bit for the thing to kick in. But here's the leader.
Scott Dixon is on pit lane. Lindy is there.
Scott Dixon was told in the last stint, use all the fuel you want for as long as you want. He's in now to get a little bit more. He's also going to get black tires on there, and we are told he will make no changes to that car. He's very happy with how he's running, and he is out in 7.6 seconds. And here comes Ryan Briscoe. Roger Penske bringing him in, the points leader and the pole sitter. He will get red tires right now, and of course, this should be his final stop. A battle on the track right now to see who's going to win out of pit road.
Yeah, Briscoe does. Marco Andretti will move up to 4th here.
We talk about the importance of in-laps and out-laps tied into pit strategy. As Dixon set the fastest lap of the race right before he came in.
Still got a little more than 20 laps to go in this one. We're at Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course for IndyCar Racing on Versus.
Get your heart ready. A new energy is going to jolt you. The unique energy of Brazilian products and services.
Watch me.
Go to experienceourenergy.com and discover Brazilian products.
I like a nice ham. You think that's wrong? We're just enjoying the flavors of a fallen friend. True. I'll tell you what's wrong. A cell phone company that charges hidden fees. That's why I got Boost Mobile. Their $50 monthly unlimited plan has no hidden fees.
$50 unlimited nationwide talk, text, web, and walkie-talkie. No contracts, no hidden fees. Boost Mobile. Unwronged.
Hybrid for everyone is here. The Insight, designed and priced for us all from Honda.
Everything gonna be all right. Come on. Everything gonna be all right. Come on now. It's gonna be all right.
Feel the excitement? That's peak performance. And it's electric.
Look out. Be sure everybody's safe with the Peak backup camera system. It installs in minutes, and anyone can do it. Check the color monitor, and you'll see what you can't see. Stop accidents before they happen. Protect your family with the Peak backup camera system, and be safe out there.
Inside, outside, all around your car. When you peak, you win.
Hey, Skip, need you in the wheelhouse.
Tenacious grip, no matter the conditions. Firehawk tires with Unity technology, only from Firestone.
Honda Indy 200 on Versus is presented by Honda, the engine supplier for the IndyCar Series.
Well, at Mid-Ohio, Justin Wilson, who has led 28 laps here this afternoon, had a train wreck during his most recent pit stop.
You can visibly see it's chug-a-lugging. We've confirmed now he was running low on fuel when he came onto the pit stop, but it was still running, which was great. But when they fill it back up with fuel, Robbie, unless you really goose it, it's tough to get the thing back clean again. And that's why right here he stalled it, because it wasn't running as cleanly as you'd want it.
And he drops back to 15th position. There's the leader, Scott Dixon, running in second spot now. Little off sequence in terms of pit stops is Marco Andretti. He's about 9 seconds behind, but running runner-up. He will, however, have to make another pit stop before this race is over. And back in third is Ryan Briscoe. So that's the way they are. Franchitti is fourth. Graham Rahal fifth, followed by Ryan Hunter-Reay, Hideki Muto, Paul Tracy, Rafa Matos, and Tony Kanaan up to 10th spot, despite the fact that he's had a lot of problems here today. Danica Patrick, who got off course, lost 2 laps and is currently 20th. Well, we'll take the weekend off, and 2 weeks from today we'll be in the wine country of Northern California, Sonoma at Infineon Raceway, as the IndyCar season ends on a road course. And then, of course, we'll have 3 more oval track races. But the IndyCar Grand Prix of Sonoma will be 2 weeks from today at 5 o'clock Eastern Time, part of Versus Red, White, Black, and Blue Summer, available on Versus HD. Remember, Scott Dixon came into this race tied for all-time wins with Sam Hornish Jr. in the IndyCar Series. He is leading at the moment by almost 11 seconds over Marco Andretti.
And the fastest lap of the race was set on lap 62 by Dixon, the lap before he came in for his pit stop. That's pretty impressive. That's standing up in the wheel. That's a true professional, true champion to get that done. Also has a pretty darn good race car. Oh, yeah. Pretty happy place. Pretty good balance inside that cockpit.
Now Marco is 10 seconds back. Let's see what that looks like as far as number of corners.
Boy, that's an eternity. We don't even see it.
Yeah, I know.
It just came
there he is.
There he is.
He popped in on the left there.
And there he is. And when he makes his pit stop, I am projecting that he'll be around 12th or 13th when he rejoins. Jax thinks he'll be a little bit farther up than that, but that'll be a good little contest to see where he slots back into position.
Well, remember, Jan, he's not going to have to take a full load of fuel if, as he's projecting, that he's going to come in with just 7 laps to go. How much fuel does he have to take on?
The only problem is you lose 24 seconds just in the fact of slowing down to 60 miles an hour, even if you don't take any fuel. So, unfortunately, that's going to drop him back quite a bit, but we'll see the actual number when he does it.
Yeah. Go ahead, burst my bubble.
Yeah. Oh, we got a car off in the sand. Graham Rahal. Wow. Running 5th. He's back on course, so we'll have no full course caution.
That was just a local yellow over in turn 2. They nose the keyhole.
Oh, here comes Tracy. He's going to take advantage of that. Tracy did blow on by the way, but here's the replay of what happened to Graham. Oh, he had a bit too much rear brake bias, and that thing stepped out. He was very fortunate not to get it stuck and not to come all the way around. Look at that, throws it in the correction, and then the fastest way to stop a car is in a straight line.
And what happens as the race goes along, and why he had a little bit of rear bias, is sometimes just all the heat that's out there, the brake, the fluid system in the brake system, sometimes it bubbles and you get a little air in your brake pedal, and the drivers are always adjusting it, but sometimes that may lock up the rear, and that's just what caught Graham out just a bit there.
So Graham drops back to 8th. Paul Tracy's up to 7th. Danica Patrick is again in 20th position. She's between the leader Dixon and second place Andretti. And here's the foot cam.
Yeah, and that's, we were just saying about Graham maybe having a little longer pedal and his pedal changing where it is. Look at Danica's left foot. That's on the brake. The right foot is the gas. You don't need to use the clutch. The only time you need to use the clutch is when you're leaving pit lane. Other than that, you just need the gas and brake.
And the clutch then is to the left of the brake.
To the left of the brake.
Yeah, left.
Exactly. Over on right next to the GoDaddy sticker there. Look at how quick she goes back to full throttle. It's squeeze, squeeze, back to full throttle. Squeeze, squeeze, full throttle. A little bit of brake as you go into turn 1 here, probably just a little bit. Hard on the gas, up through 4th gear, 5th gear. Now you're down to 2nd. Hard braking going into the keyhole. Now you're thinking power, power, power. There it is, full throttle.
Less than 13 laps to go in this race. Going to take another break and be back for the finish of the race as Scott Dixon continues to lengthen his lead over Marco Andretti, who again needs a pit stop before long.
Guys, come on. What kind of ideas we have for our fan club members?
How about a day with Dario?
Just say it. Come on, just say it.
I'm not even Irish. I'm from Scotland.
Come on.
They're magically delicious.
With Indy Downforce, you get great gear, trips, offers, maybe even meet your favorite driver. Join at IndyCar.com today.
Feel the excitement? That's peak performance. And it's electric.
The fun never stops with the Peak Power Inverter. It instantly converts your car's battery power to household power. Great for travel, mobile office, and all-out tailgating. It's easy to hook up. Plug in almost anything. Laptop, cell phone, TV, blender, whatever. Peak inverters turn your car into a party on wheels.
Inside, outside, all around your car. When you peak, you win.
Let's all paint the town red and white, black and brown. Watch the colors dry. They mix so well, it's no surprise. We are all in this together. Let's all build a home, gather up the friends you know. Somewhere we can go. We'll make it.
The hybrid for everyone is here. The Insight, designed and priced for us all, from Honda.
Hear that?
That's the sound of a new and uplifting energy, an energy to touch and improve your world. It lives far beyond the racetrack, through fuel, movies, fashion, music, food, and more. Experience the energy of Brazil. It's in our commerce and our culture. Visit experienceurenergy.com and feel the power of Brazilian products and services.
I like a nice ham. You think that's wrong? We're just enjoying the flavors of a fallen friend. True. I'll tell you what's wrong. A cell phone company that charges hidden fees. That's why I got Boost Mobile. Their $50 monthly unlimited plan has no hidden fees.
$50 unlimited nationwide talk, text, web, and walkie-talkie. No contracts, no hidden fees. Boost Mobile. Unwronged.
Indy 200 on Versus is presented by Honda, the engine supplier for the IndyCar Series, and by Apex Brazil. To learn more about our Brazilian goods and services, log on to experienceurenergy.com. And by Peak Performance Products. When you peak, you win.
Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course is in its final laps. 9 to go here. And we focus in on the battle now between Briscoe and Franchitti. This is for second spot. The best battle on the racetrack. Scott Dixon leads by about 20 seconds over those two.
So Franchitti right now is just doing everything he can to fill the mirrors of Briscoe. Just break his concentration that little bit. And when he sees him break that concentration, he's going to go for that overtake button, get the advantage from that, and try and make it happen. But first, he's got to force a little bit of a hiccup out of Briscoe.
10 overtakes remaining for Scott Dixon. He really doesn't need them.
Not with a 20-second gap. Yeah. I think he's safe.
And Marco Andretti, of course, did make his pit stop, dropping out of second position, and he came out on the racetrack in position.
That was a sixth position. Thank you, Bob, for trying to. So Jackaroo was correct that, yes, that was a good strategy. He came out significantly ahead of where I thought he was going to, so well done, Jack.
And we're showing you the point standings at the ticker up top. Scott Dixon so far has led 43 laps. We'll pick up the bonus points for leading the most. And there is the fourth place runner, Ryan Hunter-Reay. And man, oh man, he has had just a really, really good race this afternoon. But right behind him is Hideki Muto. So that is for position. You heard Robbie say earlier in the broadcast that A.J. Foyt is a car owner's best finish here was in 93 with Robbie Gordon. He finished second. And Ryan Hunter-Reay isn't on the podium right now, but he has given that car one fine ride this afternoon.
He's had a solid run. They've been solid since they rolled off. I think that's just good momentum. We're looking there at Vitor Meira looking on. We know he wants back in the car as bad as possible, but he's still got to be patient and just part of his recovery towards the end of the year. But hopefully we'll see him back, at Homestead, if not before.
Guys, I've listened to A.J. Foyt for a long time on the radio, and today it may be as calm as I have ever heard him. There hasn't been any rise in his voice whatsoever. I think that the chemistry is starting to gel, and I got to give credit to the guy on the left side of A.J. Foyt right there. I think Vitor Meira has helped A.J. Foyt better understand his replacement driver, Ryan Hunter-Reay.
Be nice to see A.J. run a two-car team next year with Vitor and Ryan Hunter-Reay both. Right now, he's holding off the challenge of Hideki Muto.
So basically, Jack, you're saying Vitor's been a calming influence over AJ?
Yeah, I think in some respects, because, you know, Vitor is so laid back anyways, and I think he's been able to help translate AJ Foytisms to Ryan Hunter-Reay and Ryan Hunter-Reayisms to AJ Foyt.
And there is Ed Carpenter running in 17th spot. Got a shot of him. Back up front, Scott Dixon has some traffic ahead of him. Here is Ed. And all of the internet sites that I visited in the last week complimented not only the race itself, but the incredible job that Ed did in almost winning his first IndyCar Series race. Just good to see him and the team run as well as
I mean, how much fun did we have up watching that?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it was great.
Doesn't get any better than that.
No, it was great.
Franchitti running back in the 3rd position. There is our leader. This is Briscoe looking back on Dario a moment ago.
You can see how aggressive Franchitti is. He's just trying to get back to power.
And earlier when he was aggressive, the same place we saw Briscoe get into trouble. There's Hang in the back, leaving the black marks as the car gets light over that. That is a case where you've got to have quick hands and bring it back. Nice job for Dario. And we were seeing while we were on board that Briscoe is still defending his position by using that overtake assist, just trying to keep Dario back there.
And that's why it's important for Dario to keep filling the mirrors of Briscoe. So if Briscoe thinks he has to use that overtake button, that's when he wants to get the hiccup out of Briscoe to capitalize on something. He's right there.
And Briscoe is back on the button again. So he's using it defensively, so that will work in Franchitti's favor. However, Franchitti only has 2 left. So Briscoe will be told that and be saying, you know, you've got 3 more than him. Just use it to hold him back.
As we saw here, when we said Franchitti's really got a run on him, there was really close behind him. Ryan saw the same thing. He said, I'm going to just go right here with my left hand to press that button.
Both of these guys are running almost 25 seconds behind Scott Dixon.
Once they put the black tires on Scott Dixon's target machine, he was gone. He just became the class of the field. He saved fuel on the reds, put the blacks on, and he was off to the races. Well, they set these cars up to favor either blacks or reds. And after the morning practice, I talked to Scott, and he was like, well, I don't really know which way to go. But, you know, between he and his teammate here, Dario Franchitti, they sit down in the truck with their engineers and figure out what they want to do. And obviously, the combination that they came across for Dixon on blacks was like magic.
No question, because he just smoked him.
Dario's only got 2 more punches of the overtake assist. With the championship as close as it is, and with only 4 more races remaining, every position on the racetrack is valuable, and Dario would love to get around Ryan. Make it a 1-2 finish for Target Chip Ganassi Racing.
And Briscoe having 4 pushes left, 3 laps to go. Are we going to see him just push that button every time he kind of comes off of turn 1 and you run through the keyhole, that long straightaway area? I think he's just going to use the button every time to defend his position against Franchitti.
Well, that's the idea. You want to save more pushes than laps, and he's got the perfect number right now. So we figured right about in this section is where you can get after it.
Yep. That begins your 20 seconds of overtake mode. A couple extra 100 RPMs from 10.3 to 10.5 it gives you.
Dario kicked up the dust again.
There it is. There it is.
Target Chip Ganassi Racing has 4 wins here at Mid-Ohio. 2 with Alex Zanardi, 1 with Juan Pablo Montoya, and of course they won with Dixon. 2007 was Scott's win here.
Franchitti's really stout through that rhythm section of 4, 5, and 6. The way he just flows the momentum of his car through the mid portion of those corners, he really gains on Briscoe. But again, you know, to have a little faster car there and get up alongside and make a clean pass on this track, that's a whole different story.
Less than 2 laps remaining. Dixon is now almost 28 seconds ahead of these guys. But they're having their own nice little battle here.
Yeah, Dixon, you know, here we look down the main long back straightaway. You think we could look ahead and see where Dixon is up there, but no, he's already in the back twisty section.
By the way, Tony Kanaan has moved up to 10th position after his early off track. There's a white flag. 1 more lap to go. 2 1/4 miles left for Scott Dixon on a Sunday afternoon in Central Ohio. Scott Dixon took the lead on the 37th lap and is just about a half a lap away from victory. Also take the points lead by 3 if he crosses the line ahead of everybody else. I don't think I saw him make a single mistake, did you?
Not put a wheel wrong that we saw.
Yep.
What a great, I mean, that takes just focus, concentrate. I mean, just what he's done on the in-laps and out-laps that are the keys to these things. He's done it better than anybody. Fantastic.
Well, Scott Dixon comes off the 13th corner, gets the double checkers, and wins his 20th career race, breaking the tie with Sam Mortis Jr. He now is the all-time winner in the IndyCar Series with 20 wins. It's his 4th win this season. He also won Kansas, Milwaukee, and Richmond. Now we watch this battle for 2nd spot as Ryan Briscoe tries to hold off Dario Franchitti. They come through corner number 13, and it's Briscoe finishing 2nd, and Dario Franchitti finishing in 3rd position. A 1-3 for Target Chip Ganassi Racing. Lindy?
It didn't seem Scott Dixon made a single mistake. Mike Hull, what was your strategy for him, and is that what you stuck with?
Well, the strategy really was to go as far as you could on the first stop and hope that you went a little further than everybody else, which opens up the window for the 2nd stop. And Scott Dixon can do that better than anybody on this field. And in a Target car, you know, we've seen it so many times where he's been able to run that kind of a race. And, you know, we're racing against a quality bunch of people, not only our teammate Dario, but Briscoe, too. We're fighting for a championship, and those guys are fighting as hard as we are. And it was just went our way today.
And, Mike, it seemed his car really favored the black tires. Was that the case?
I'm not so sure. Everybody's car didn't favor the back tires on a long run. You had to run as hard as you could on the alternate tire all the way to the end of your first stop, but it's a relative thing with the speed for everybody through the field. I mean, they were running in the 69s on reds, the first 5 or 6 guys, and the guys right behind were running 110s. So I think it's a relative thing all the way to the end, and black tires just go better, longer, faster, but it's okay.
Mike Hull leading Scott Dixon to the win. Bob?
His 2nd win at Mid-Ohio, also won in 2007, and his 1st win on a road course in over a year. His most recent victory on a road course was at Edmonton last year. The crew loves it. We'll be back to talk with him in a moment. Scott Dixon has arrived in victory lane. World Extreme Cage Fighting later on Versus. And there is Scott Dixon as he receives the congratulations of car owner Chip Ganassi. Izod salutes a winning performance with Izod Victory Lane. Let's go there and talk with Scott Dixon with Robbie Floyd.
The 4th win this season for Scott Dixon, the 4th win for Target Chip Ganassi at Mid-Ohio, and maybe more importantly, the number 20, the all-time winningest driver in the IndyCar Series. Scott Dixon with this victory. As he says, the IndyCar Series career win record with a clapperboard there. That might be a proud trophy there, huh, Scotty?
Yeah, it's what a day. You know, I can't say anything more about the Team Target. My God, Eric and you know, the whole engineering side gave me such a great car. It was a breeze to drive, and we were able to stretch out whenever we needed. And you know, we had some passing at Mid-Ohio, which was pretty cool.
Yeah, you had some passing. Are you a big fan of basketball?
I don't see too much of it, apart from the Pacers that are in Indianapolis, actually. So.
Well, in basketball, there's a certain thing called a pick, and you had one heck of a pick there for you, but the pit stop really helped you. You moved up a position here.
Yeah, definitely. You know, I think that was strategy. We just had to save a bit more fuel than anybody else, but it was just a perfect day. I got to say hello to my wife, Emma. She's on a plane back to England as well. So
there's the pick right there, Scott.
That was, yeah, there we go. That was, I think, because we had Milker in the way a little bit, and then I think you see Justin almost get me back here. So it was definitely a tough race, but you know, the latter part was fantastic.
And you made up so much ground. You saw Milk ahead. You knew that could be a serious problem, but did you think you would close in that fast?
No, I didn't, and I think our team knew that Justin had to save a bit more fuel than us. We pitted and saved quite a lot on our first one. You know, pitted later, so we were able to jump on fuel. And you know, I think that was maybe the change there that got us past Justin on the straight as well.
The objective is to take that points lead. You did so in 13 races now. We've had 12, you know, different winners each given race. That's the end objective, isn't it?
It's fantastic, man. But, you know, for us to get 4 and, you know, a breaking 20 for most wins in IndyCar is definitely fantastic. But it's the time we needed. We hadn't been doing that great or had many great results this year on the road courses or street courses, so this was definitely a comeback.
Yeah, you finally got the win on the road and street course. Congratulations, Scott Dixon.
Thanks, man. Cheers.
Lindy Thaxton.
Ryan Briscoe, you say the overtake button really saved you here. Tell us about that.
Yeah, I was under a lot of pressure the last 20 laps from Dario. We thought the reds would stick in the end. We're going for the quick out laps, and after about 4 or 5 laps, it just started blistering the right front. So it's unfortunate. Just really happy I could hang on to second there. Dario was putting on a lot of pressure, but that little button there was helping me out down the back straight. So thanks to that.
You seem a little bit different out of the car than we sometimes see you. Was this really physically demanding on you?
It's pretty tough out there. It's hot today, and it's a very high grip track, so the steering gets super heavy. So just take it in the water here, trying to recover a bit.
Ryan, thank you.
Thank you.
Jack?
Well, a well-deserved 4th place finish for one Ryan Hunter-Reay in the A.J. Foyt ABC supply car. Ryan, what was the pivot point for you?
I was just hustling the whole time from lap 1. It was qualifying laps. I think that's the hardest I've ever had to push. Just tapped into a place I hadn't been, and that's all I was able to muster up.
You know, we were talking during the course of the race, though, that maybe it takes a while for chemistry to work, for people to understand. And when you were moved over to A.J. Foyt to fill in for Vitor Mira, and now it seems as if you guys are communicating. I mean, this was the best I've heard A.J. on a radio in a long time.
I know,
Very
tell me
calm.
about it.
Yeah.
It was a nice weekend that way, but, you know, I think we just rolled off the truck with a pretty good setup. And from there, we just did what we thought was smart. You know, I put it together on the track. The guys put it together in the pit lane. So, you know, big thanks to ABC and for their support. I mean, I'm finishing 4th here. You know, we almost knocked on the podium. It's a really good finish for ABC Supply and A.J. Foyt Racing.
Well, it's a great finish, and there's an awful lot of people here that are extremely excited with the outcome here. A.J. Foyt's car finishes 4th. A big day for Ganassi as well. We'll have more right here on Versus next.
Well, the crowd gathered here this afternoon, leaving with smiles on their face. They've seen Scott Dixon become the all-time winningest driver in IndyCar Series history. Finishing 3rd this afternoon was Dario Franchitti. Here's Robbie.
Dario going to take a seat here. You have a smile on your face in 3rd place, a well-deserved 3rd, but you weren't happy totally with the car.
No, we're not there yet. We need to be with the target car. Scotty's got it, so he likes it. We tested here a couple of weeks ago, managed to get it to balance at Scott Light. We still haven't got it there for me yet on the road courses. We've seen problem at Edmonton, and until we do, we're going to struggle a little bit. But once we get it, like we have on the street courses, the target car is going to be quick. But Scotty D did a good job today, and but it was a long, hot day out there and a little frustrating.
How bad did you want to get by Brian at the end, and what were you seeing?
I was trying to get by. I was giving it everything I had. I wanted to get by them all. You know, we made up 3 places at the start, and then Graham did a good move on a restart. That was my screw up actually, and he made a good move. But I was just pushing all day. But that's all we had.
Series starting to come to a close. You're going to have to make that move. You're going to have to start taking more chances now?
Yeah, we're going to have to get things, well, not chances. I'm pushing 100%. We just got to figure out on the road course, we've got to get the balance right. And, you know, on those 3 ovals left, we'll get that sorted out too. But until we get it the way we like it, we're going to struggle.
Plenty of time left for Dario Franchitti, road courses as well as the ovals. Lindy Thaxton?
Justin Wilson, let's go back to a little bit earlier this afternoon. You're running second. Talk about what happened and what's going through your mind at that point.
Yeah, I was on that in lap. I went into turn 1 and the team said pit, pit, pit. As I got to the apex, went back on the power and the car just died. So realized then we're cutting it a bit fine on fuel, and all the way around that lap it just kept cutting out. Came in the pit lane virtually with the engine stopped. It just crawled to my stop, and when I went full throttle to leave the pits, it just cut out. You know, just wasn't enough fuel in the collector, I guess. But you know, it's disappointing. I think we had a much stronger car, and you know, just felt that the Z-Line design furniture car was capable of being on the podium. I thought we're second quickest car today. I mean, Scott was just unbeatable. That was pretty impressive, but you know, I thought we were right up there behind him.
Yeah, I mean, you were very impressive at the beginning of this race, and I heard you say earlier Scott was a really tough battle for you.
Yeah, he was driving well. The car's fast, and they got everything perfect. So, you know, when he went 3 laps longer, I knew his car must be very good, and then he didn't need to save fuel in that second stint, so it was pretty hard to hold him off at that stage. But you know, I felt we could finish second and get another good result for Dale Coyne Racing, but you know, sometimes things don't work out how you want them to.
That's true. Justin Wilson with a 13th place finish.
Certainly not reflective of how well he ran here, especially in the early going. Well, once again, a great race here at Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course. There are the top 10 finishers, with Scott Dixon winning over Ryan Briscoe.
Welcome back to the Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course, where Scott Dixon takes his 4th victory of the season, but just behind in 6th place, Marco Andretti in the Venom Racing Machine. And Marco, that was a heck of a race for you, moving up through the field. And with a little help, you might have been up front all the way if you could have got some yellow help.
Yeah, but then again, you know, we need a lot of yellow. You know, I think if we would have gotten yellow, we might have been in trouble, because then we would have had to pit and then lose all the track position. But not a bad day for the Meyer car. I had to qualify all day. It was a long day.
Your objective is to move up in points. You didn't quite do that, but with the misfortune by Danica, you are slowly starting to gain here towards the end.
Yeah, no, that's the goal. I mean, you know, it wouldn't be a bad year after all if we were, you know, able to charge the 5th.
Congratulations on your run up through the pack today, 13th to 6th. Jackaroo?
Yeah, Robbie, it's time for the final word. We've got Scott Dixon and the guy that calls his race, Mike Hull. And I want to start with you, Scott. We talked a little bit about the moving pick, but how do you make the fuel the way you do? Because that first stint is really, I think, one of the key turning points.
Yeah, it definitely was today, and you know, that's all thanks to Eric and Mike and everybody that keeps on top of me about saving fuel. But you know, the car was just that good. You know, we could sit right in behind. We knew they were having to go a bit richer and try and hold us off. But the car in traffic, out of traffic, anywhere on the track today was just fantastic. So it was a huge help from Team Target.
Mike, you've helped me to begin to understand that really good tacticians start and look at the checkered flag and work backwards. When did it come to you what the fuel number was going to be that you wanted to hit?
In 2003, when I first started working with Scott Dixon, if you want to work backwards. We knew what we wanted to do with full rich, and it's fun to race Indy cars when you can race at full rich like Scott did today for 2/3 of the race. So we really busted ourselves hard to get to that position for our first stop, and once we were there, you know, Scott wanted to be a little conservative on the fuel, and I had to keep pinching him on the radio, telling him he could go full rich.
Well, now that's a difference, guys. All of a sudden telling the driver, go, go, go. Bob?
Well, congratulations once again. Here's our Firestone pit performers, and Ryan Briscoe spends the least amount of time on pit lane, 51 seconds. Dixon and Franchitti both spent 52. So there are the points now as Dixon and Briscoe trade places, and Dixon is on top by 3. Tony Kanaan moves up 1. Graham Rahal moves up 1, and Dan Weldon slides down 2 to 9th position. Justin Wilson stays in 10th with another road course coming up in 2 weeks.
Well, it's good to see Marco. You know, you kind of had a little smile on his face as he's rolling into Infineon, where he's had his first run, first win. I think that's a good plug for him.
We also saw, we talked in the beginning about points. Do you hold back when you need points? Those that were running for points actually pushed the hardest today, and they ended up front.
couple of salutes as the winning team is saluted here. We might also mention that the finish by Ryan Hunter-Ray for A.J. Foyt was Foyt's best since finishing second at Watkins Glen. Hideki Moto also records his first career top 5 finish on a road course. But the man of the day is Scott Dixon, who now is the all-time winningest driver in the IndyCar Series. Well, thanks for joining us here at Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course. Coming up next, Sports Soup. Join us in 2 weeks, Sunday, August the 23rd at 5 o'clock Eastern for the IndyCar Grand Prix of Sonoma. You can find iZod at your local Macy's. And for more information on IndyCar, log on to Versus.com. Congratulations to our winner, Scott Dixon. For Jan Beekes, Robbie Buell, Jack Arute, Robbie Floyd, and Lindy Thaxton, I'm Bob Jenkins. We'll see you in 2 weeks on Versus.